G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. With that said, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, and let's get right into it. I still have feelings for my ex-wife. I, 28 male, used to be married to an amazing woman, 24 female. We divorced 2 years ago, and we were dating for 1 year, married for 3. She was, and still is, the love of my life, and our divorce is my biggest regret. My mother was a nightmare mother-in-law. I stupidly let her involve herself in our marriage and mistreat my ex-wife by constantly criticizing her. I never called her to complain about my ex or sided with her against my ex-wife, but I should have enforced strict boundaries with her as soon as I realized she was going to be a problem for us. I did go no contact with her twice during my ex-wife's miscarriages, because I didn't want her to have added stress. However, during our second miscarriage, my mother found out by reading some texts off of my sister's phone and went ballistic. She found out that it was the second one from the texts too. She turned up to our home, and instead of turning her away instantly, I took her into the living room and tried to explain things to her while my ex-wife, who was upstairs resting, was unaware of her being there. My mother pretended to calm down, but when I went into our backyard to bring the cats inside, she went upstairs and woke my ex-wife up. She screamed at her for ruining my relationship with her and made some horrible comments about her being barren. By the time I got upstairs, which was 5 minutes later because my cats were not very happy with me bringing them inside, my ex-wife was in tears. I kicked my mother out immediately, but that was my ex-wife's final straw, and we split up a month later and agreed to remain friends. We acknowledged that we still had feelings for each other, but that this relationship wasn't beneficial to her anymore. We lived in the US, but my ex-wife's dad lives in the UK. So after our divorce, she went to go spend time with him and ended up getting employed by one of his friends. I was devastated by the divorce, and I immediately went no contact with my mother, and I put myself into therapy. Therapy helped me understand that my relationship with my mother wasn't healthy, and I learned some good strategies to keep communication with her healthy, so I'm now low contact with her. We only speak during family events. My siblings have told me that she still doesn't see what she's done wrong, so I definitely won't be advancing beyond low contact for the foreseeable future. I have not moved on from my divorce, and I think I'm even more in love with my ex than I have been before. I've not seen anyone new, and she is constantly on my mind. During the first 6 months of my ex-wife living in the UK, we didn't speak. However, on our wedding anniversary, she sent me a text that read, "Happy Un-anniversary," insert a nickname that she used to call me, followed by, "I thought we agreed to stay friends, loser." For the rest of her first year away, we texted each other every now and then, like on my birthday, her birthday, and my brother's birthday. For my brother's birthday, she sent this to my house and I gave it to him for her. Before the MRAs get here, my brother is gay, and they have been friends since they were children. He set us up on our first date, so I don't want any crazy DMs. During her second year away, we fell into a more typical friendship, and I told her about the therapy I had after she asked me if I'd cut the umbilical cord yet. She told me about 2 men that she had dated, and how both relationships ended. I wasn't weird about it, but it made me think about how much I missed her and how much I still loved her. My thoughts kept me up that night, and I couldn't stop hating myself for ruining things with her. I still have both of our wedding rings and her engagement ring. Due to recent world events, she hasn't been able to come visit anymore here in the US, but she's moving back in October. I was actually the first person she told about that. Everyone's pretty excited, and my brother is organizing a homecoming party for her, and I've been invited. It's probably going to be hosted at my house, our marital home, because I'm the only person in our circle who lives alone. However, my brother asked me if I'd be hanging out with her by myself at some point. I wasn't planning on asking her to, but now that he's brought it up, it's all I can think of. They are best friends, so some part of me is thinking she might have put him up to it, just like she did when she asked him to set us up together in the first place. I asked my sister for her input, but she said that I shouldn't ask her to meet up with me, and I should wait for her to ask if she wants to. I think she might still have feelings for me, because when she was telling me about one of her breakups, she said, "None of the men over here can handle me like you can." But her humor is generally flirtatious, so I can't be too sure. I would love an outside perspective on this. Would asking her out be the right thing to do? Thanks for reading. And now in the comments, "Bro, she asked if you cut the umbilical cord. That's literally what she was waiting for. I think this is going to go well for you, and I can't wait for the update. OP, this. I noticed that too. Dude, if you want her back, you will have to commit, and absolutely commit, to cutting your mother out of your life permanently and for good. There is no low contact or very low contact. No family functions where she will be at, and any contact from her would need to be immediately shut down. Any siblings that you have that would be in contact with your mother or send her information would need to be grey-rocked or very low contact. You'll need to have a private conversation with her and assure her that you will do everything in your power to never let your mother near her and your family again. Future children will never know their abusive grandmother. And you'll have to keep at it because you bet your mother will try to contact you again, especially if she finds out that you have children. Then take the actions to ensure your promise and commitment to your wife that you have cut the umbilical cord. Head over to Just No Mother-in-Law. They have great resources, and they can help you with keeping an FU binder if you need one to get no contact orders or restraining orders against your mother. There is no low contact here if you want this to work out with your wife. It has to be no contact. Your wife needs to know that she is safe with you, and cutting out your toxic and abusive mother is just the beginning of that reassurance. And now back up to the post, we have a mini update. Y'all have convinced me to ask her now instead of waiting for October. It's late in the UK right now, but I'll call her tomorrow. Thanks for all the encouragement. Edit 1. I wanted to clarify what I meant by low contact, since I know everyone has a different interpretation of it. The low contact I have is only saying happy birthday to each other in the family group chat. We are never first to say it to each other, and the conversation doesn't advance beyond that point. Whenever she comes up to me at family events, which isn't often anymore, she usually asks how I am and for updates on my life. I give her one-worded answers and grey rock the rest. My therapist calls this method civil no contact, which I think is more accurate. She freaked out about no contact when my ex-wife first left and regularly blew up my phone. Low contact has been more peaceful. I am aware that this will change if my ex-wife and I get back together, and I'll be working with my therapist to create a plan for every possibility. I plan on returning to no contact after the phone call tomorrow, and I want to make it as safe and peaceful as possible, so if a tiny bit of conversation is what it takes, I will do it. Edit 2. I'm logging off now because this is making me anxious. In a good way, don't worry. Next time y'all will hear from me is after our conversation. And now, on to the big update. So I asked if she'd like to come out to dinner with me when she's back. She said yes. She actually asked me about what took me so long to ask. She said that if I hadn't asked her before the week before her return, then she would have asked me out. So thank you guys so much for pushing me to call her. I feel like me making the first move is more meaningful, as I was the one who ruined our marriage. I am literally on cloud 11 right now. We're going to take it slow this time. We got engaged after 6 months the first time round, and I'm also going to be picking her up from the airport. Like, do I bring her flowers? I also spoke to her about my mum. She was aware of the civil no-contact arrangement that we had, and she said she didn't mind if I kept it, but I don't want to, and I made that clear. I only tolerate my mum's presence for my siblings and their children at events, but I'm going to stop attending and celebrate important stuff with them at a different time. I'm hoping that my nieces and nephews harass my siblings enough about me being missing from their birthday parties that my siblings uninvite my mum. I know that I'm their favorite uncle. I apologized to her immensely, and she said she'd hang up if I apologized anymore, so I had to quit. I know this is just the beginning, and more apologies will definitely follow once we start to discuss our failed marriage, so I'm not going to try to max out her apology acceptance capacity. She's also agreed to start couples counseling with me once she gets back. We also discussed the possibility of, if we do get married again, us moving to the UK. She said that she wants to stay in the town that I'm currently in for the next few years, as she's missed her family and friends here a lot. Her maternal family is here, her paternal family, though, is in the UK. But she said returning to the UK wasn't off the table completely, and I told her that I would follow her in a heartbeat. She called me a nerd. Our conversation lasted 2 hours, and she had to go because she's taking her younger siblings out. She also said she had been asking my brother to hint to me that she wanted to come back, so I was right about what he was doing. I saw a comment earlier saying that I should have just asked my brother to spill it out properly, and I wish I could convey how insanely annoying he is to y'all. I'd have to hold him hostage to get him to say anything. I know we have so much more to discuss in the month before she returns, and I'm making a priority list. Psycho Mum is at the top. I told my ex that I wanted to sell the house, so my mum won't have my address, and I swear she wanted to reach through the screen and choke me. She loves the house, and she said that I can't list it anywhere or speak to a real estate agent before she has the chance to look around again, and I'm happy to oblige my queen. I also saw some comments saying that I shouldn't send my mum that email, explaining my boundaries and consequences for her breaking them. I don't know if it was on here or just no mother-in-law, and since my ex-wife doesn't want to leave this town for the near future, and given how small the town is, it's likely for my mother to run into us together and separately. I run into my mom at least once a week, and we ignore each other. I would hope that she would have the decency to not say anything, but she can't be trusted. I will be taking legal action if she does break our boundaries. Advice on this is appreciated. My current plan is to attempt total no contact in the month before my ex-wife returns. There are 4 family birthdays coming up, so it'll be perfect. My absence at all 4 events will definitely be noticed by her, and I can see her reaction to it. I might also ask my brother and sister to sit her down and tell her not to bother me, and that I've decided to go total no contact. But I'd like to know if that's a good idea. I know some of y'all are mad at civil no contact, but it's kept the peace that I needed for the past 2 years. However, I know everything will be different when my ex-wife is back. Thank you all so much. You're all invited to our second wedding. A commenter down below asks, I hope this works out, but I'm curious, what are your siblings' relationship with your mother like? OP replies, I've got 5 siblings, 1 brother and 4 sisters. My sisters are all actually adopted, and they're biologically my cousins. 3 were adopted from my mum's brother, he's a frickin' psycho who lost custody, and the 4th is adopted from my dad's brother. She was born to him and his first wife. First wife died of cancer. His new wife didn't like her. My parents took her in for a bit so my uncle could sort crap out with his wife, but she ended up staying with my parents, and they only got legal custody when she turned 17, so they could do her college applications right. My mum took in the older 2 of her brother's daughter before she met my dad, and my dad took his brother's daughter in before he met my mum. They're actually really similar people and have an amazing relationship. This is so complicated, I need to use fake names. Our age order goes Shauna, 34, adopted from mum's brother, Bianca, 32, adopted from mum's brother, Summer, 29, adopted from dad's brother, then me, then Mary, who is 26, who is adopted from mum's brother, and then Adrian. Shauna, Bianca, and Summer are on amazing terms with our mum. She loves their husbands and adores their children. I expected the same treatment for my wife, but shrug. Mary is distant from her because she's extremely close with my ex, and she's dating my ex's cousin. We set them up. Adrian barely speaks to her too because he's very close to my ex as well, and his boyfriend hasn't been treated as badly as my ex was, but he didn't get the warm reception our older sister's husband got. They both, Mary and Adrian, went no contact with my mother when we divorced, but started talking to her again because our dad begged them to. Oh, thanks for answering. Does your therapist have any theories as to why her treatment of you and your ex was so different? From an outsider, it kinda looks like she was obsessed with the ex because you're the first biological son and are straight. She also seems a bit homophobic. And OP replies, "No problems. We do have some theories. I think it's partly due to me being her biological son and straight. I also think it has something to do with the miscarriages. When my brother and my wife were friends as kids and teens, my mother was always very nice to her. My ex also suffered a lot with her mental health as a teen, and her family life was screwed. So she spent a lot of time at my parents' home during her later years of high school, and we think that might have prejudiced her against our marriage. We also think that she's a closet racist. She's not done anything racist before, that I know of, but I think she's one of those people who don't want their family to be mixed. I have asked my siblings if they think she's racist, and my older 3 sisters disagreed. Mary says she has a gut feeling that she is, and Adrian doesn't think so because she was okay with my ex being around for all of those years before. My ex-wife is black. About the homophobia, I think that definitely plays a part, but also the fact that she's extremely picky about who her children are with does too, plus the closet racism. My brother's boyfriend is Asian, and he loves motorcycles, and he looks like a stereotypical biker, so there's a plethora of reasons on why she could be cold to him. She's a very annoying and frustrating person. In this next edit, when OP says she, they're referring to their girlfriend, not their mother. Edit 3, she found this post off Best Reddit Updates, Lamau. She called me a total nerd. She wants me to thank y'all for convincing me to call her instead of waiting for October. And she told me to call her my girlfriend instead of ex-wife, so that's what I'll be using from now on. Edit 4, I won't be making an update post tomorrow. This sub only allows one update, and I'd rather save it for when my girlfriend is back. Smiley face. Also, I'm fully aware that my mum is a racist. By closet racist, I mean someone who's kept it hidden effectively for so long. She's also just a freaking weirdo in general. So there's multiple reasons for why she doesn't like my girlfriend and my brother's boyfriend other than race. She hates my girlfriend because of her messed up family background and for the miscarriages, in addition to race, and she hates my brother's boyfriend for being into motorbikes and smoking the green. She is incredibly absurd, so at the beginning I wasn't sure if it was racism or not, but now it's pretty obvious. My sister's boyfriend is also black. He's my girlfriend's cousin, but he refuses to meet my mum because of how my girlfriend was treated. She has never commented on their relationship. And now in the comments, okay, of course everyone loves a happy ending story, but what I really love is that he put in all the work immediately after the divorce. Not to win his ex back, just for himself. That is the healthiest, healingest thing you can do. I hope this works out. I really do. Normally, I'm never on board with exes getting back together, but for this case, I'm feeling slightly hopeful. They got married young and went through some of the hardest times that a marriage can possibly go through very early on in the marriage. This, of course, was absolutely not helped at all by the mother-in-law from hell. But OP seems pretty serious about not having his mother in his life anymore. He has worked on himself, she's traveled, and added some more dating experience to her belt. Both of them have aged and matured. Normally, I wouldn't just count time passing as a plus, but I think your 20s is still a time where you're learning and changing a lot. They started dating when she was 18, married when she was 19, and divorced when she was 22. That's very young to handle a marriage, a malicious mother-in-law, and a miscarriage, the 3 deadly M's. So I feel like they definitely have a good chance of making it if they tried again now. It's huge that OP started therapy after his marriage dissolved. A lot of people in his position just moan about wanting to win back their ex without having a plan in place to fix his mistakes. And he didn't start changing with the intention to win her back. I wish them great things, whether that means they end up back together or not. I also hope that the nieces and nephews do get their parents to stop inviting grandma. People don't change, yet expect to win their exes back. OP actually changed to be a better person, and then started taking it slowly with her all over again. That's the difference that makes this story stand out. Plus, I also really hope they stop inviting his mom. Our next post is titled, My Tinder date stole my expensive perfumes. He texted today to plan a second date. I don't believe it. I'm starting to regret ending my loveless, sexless marriage. I got divorced about a year ago, and I've been on Tinder for a month now. I went for walks and coffee a few times. One guy was nice and pleasant. After a few dates, we ended up in my apartment. When he took a shower afterwards, he came back to bed and commented that I had so many perfumes, and only expensive ones, and we laughed about how smelly I must be to have all these perfumes. We went to bed. We had breakfast the day after, and then he left. That was yesterday. When I was cleaning the bathroom later, 3 of my perfumes were missing. I was shocked. I looked everywhere, and after about 2 hours, I realized they were gone. I know he took them because I used one of them before he came to our date, so I know they were there, and nobody visited before or after. Now he's texted asking how my day was and if I wanted to see him again. I guess the perfumes he took, worth $1,200, weren't enough, and he wants back for more. Is this dating now? My new life? I've been out of order for over 15 years, and now it feels like I've entered a new dimension. Please, someone, tell me this is going to get better. And edit, I'm not interested in getting back my perfumes, or meeting him in any shape or form. I'm just ranting about my first date in over 15 years going this bad. Also, I was joking about regretting my divorce. I just find this whole thing laughable and a bit scary actually. And now in the comments, he probably wants more gifts to give to his actual girlfriend. Like I said, a whole new world I entered. He probably has another girl that he steals cash from, a girl who lets him borrow her fancy car, another girl where he goes when he's hungry, and a dude where he steals clothes from. Hobosexual to the max. Bluff and tell him that your camera caught him stealing your perfumes, and unless he returns them to you, you will call the police. Did you report him on Tinder? Can you change your locks? And OP replies, I did report him on Tinder. I thought maybe others have reported him. Hugs from an internet mom. This was not your fault. Why aren't you going to the police? He robbed you. He saw you as an easy hit. He probably has others that he's done this to also. Go to the police. And OP replies, I'm a bit scared actually. His audacity made me wonder what the police can do. I have no proof that he took them. I showed the doorman his photo so he doesn't let him in. But he's probably doing it to others as well. If something more unfortunate happens, the police will ask you why did you not inform them. Always go to the police and report it. Thanks for telling me. I didn't think about it as something other than an isolated incident, but you're probably right. The cops probably won't do anything, but they will take a report if someone else does the same thing, and he may get in trouble then. Well, I'm willing to make a report, but not press charges. I don't know if this works here. I don't want to trigger him. I live alone. And now onto a very short update about my Tinder date that stole my perfumes. So he texted again this morning. He told me that he wasn't sure if I got his last text and asked again if I wanted to go out. I texted back this time. You must be joking. You stole my perfumes and now you want to see me again? He texted back, about that. I'm sorry. I was just overwhelmed by the life of abundance that you live and felt a bit bitter. He said he didn't think that I would notice. He wanted to apologize because he knew what he did was wrong. I told him that I didn't want to see him anymore, but if he really thought that what he did was wrong, he could leave my perfumes with the doorman, or better yet, compensate me with 70% of the price and keep them. I don't care if I get back my perfumes, more than I would think less lowly of him. He didn't answer. I'm speechless, to be honest. Before we met, I did my homework and Googled him thoroughly. He's 41 and a teacher. An average, well-educated middle-class dude. I've learned now not to be too trusting. Also, I've learned a new thing here. Not to go walks and coffee. I didn't know it was a thing really, but I'll try to make it harder for men and weed out some of the misfits from the start. Otherwise, I'm good. I'm happy and content. This experience was sad and pathetic, but it doesn't mean that I'd rather stay in a loveless marriage like many of you seem to prefer. Take what I said in my first and this post with a grain of salt because I wasn't serious. This whole experience was laughable. Thank you very much for your comments. Some were hilarious. I didn't expect so many, and I guess I'll see you after my next date with some weirdo. Cheers. And edit, he has now dropped the perfume downstairs. That's good, but I'm not sure if I want them in my home anymore. And now in the comments, I'd forgotten the edit in the first post and was about to ask what was wrong with a coffee and a walk, since I thought that it was a pretty easy and casual first date. Sucks about your perfume though. Doesn't even matter about the price. I know once you find the one, so to speak, it's one you go back to again and again. Hopefully he chooses to leave them with your doorman and sees sense that he is a bit of an idiot. And thankfully he did, guys. And OP replies, many suggested that low-effort dates attracted low-value men. I didn't think of it like that. Holy F, I expected this to be some young bum from reading your first post. 41 with a job and stealing perfumes? This one makes me lose 10 hope points. It's hit or miss. Forced to eat a long-winded expensive dinner with someone you have no chemistry with is bad. A serial dater had a favorite bar which had an attached restaurant in case the one drink went well. Otherwise it's, sorry, I'm meeting friends later. My husband made lots of effort for our dates. Cool museum showings, planetarium. The man now can't be asked to plan my birthday, read a WhatsApp message, or carry cash anymore. But he does make time for me. I met my partner at a bar because I told the bartender, a longtime friend, that I was sick of dating apps and I wanted him to set me up with someone. An hour later, my partner arrived. Not planned, he was just a regular at the bar, and the bartender friend introduced us. It's been 3 years and we've been living together for 1. 10 out of 10 would recommend. And edit, our first date outside of that bar, I made him dinner at my apartment and we ended up getting silly and talking in faux southern accents for an hour. It was an amazing experience. It is seriously so pathetic that he kept texting as if OP wouldn't notice $1,200 worth of her stuff had gone missing. And the reasoning too. Dude's got some serious issues. He admitted he felt bitter towards her and still asked for another date. Stealing the perfume is bad enough, of course, but if he said that he did it for rent money, or to show off his admirable date to his friends or something, that would be less scary on a personal level. He casually admitted that he felt hatred and scorn towards her for a few minutes. I hope nobody on earth would go for another date with someone who felt bitter about them. He admitted to everything. He admitted that he knew that it was wrong, and to the bitterness, as if he'd get brownie points for being vulnerable. But then when he's given the option of doing the right thing, he stops texting her, so he must not have felt that bad after all. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it down below, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.